in the real world of professional wrestling this week, Lee, after USA's coverage ended, which I did not see this live, Liv Morgan planted a kiss on Dominic Mysterio and set the wrestling world on fire in this untelevised event. Lee, you know a little bit about the backstage world. Was this unplanned? Was this impromptu? Why would this not be featured on Raw on the national feed?
Right.
How does something of this caliber make it through? Did they slip it past the goalie? Did Triple H not know this was this a plan that they came up with in the gorilla position at the last minute? Lee, tell us about the kiss heard around the world.
Well, it's so much more simple than that. It was supposed to be planned for the last thing you saw as the title card went up, and it just went 30 seconds too long and the feed got cut. Now, it did not get cut internationally, so UK viewers got to see it, which is why we in the US actually know it exists, because Wrestle Talk, What Culture, and WrestleLamia and those have all shared. But it was just a timing thing. It was just an unfortunate little oops that was 30 seconds off. If they'd have cut a minute from the match and then, done that and then ended with her walking up the ramp or something, that would have been better. But fortunately lost it. I'm equally interested as to where that all's going to go, because earlier in the show, Becky Lynch was talking to Lyra Valkyria, I think, and she mentioned about, like, you got to know when you win, you got to know when you lose, and you got to know when it's time to hang it up. And it was like, ooh, because her contract's up this week. If
Sure
Becky
is.
Lynch doesn't renew like today, tomorrow, she's a free agent. She could go to the other company.
Rehabilitating following a surgery, right? A shoulder surgery, I believe, or something
Who's
like
that?
that. Seth Rollins is out
Oh,
post-op
yeah. But he
surgery.
renewed his contract.
Yeah, but he's at home in bed recovering, right?
Yeah.
Probably where she wants to be, there with him and her child, and
She
maybe
could renew and take time off, She didn't renew. Not yet, anyway.
right. There's no way she's going, across the pond
You'd
to.
say that, but I don't know. I mean,
Ugh.
she would be featured there as one of the top fighters, whereas she's beginning to take the Legends role here, which is fair. But so we've got that wrinkle. But then she did tweet out or something about, like, give me a few weeks and we'll finish this or something like that. So maybe she is just taking some time off. But again, you can do that under contract. And then you've got, when is Rhea coming back? Because clearly they're building towards Rhea coming back as a baby face. They're building towards what's his name? Damian Priest, the world champion, getting his head stomped in by Gunther at SummerSlam. So you've got, or maybe even Clash at the Castle. I'd be fine with him losing at Clash at the Castle.
Gosh.
So
Um. So it's interesting, the revenge tour, right? And now she has Rhea's title
yeah,
and Rhea's man,
yeah,
right? So is has revenge been fully served, right?
mm,
There are other things she could be setting her sights on. Wrestle Talk had this interesting theory that she was going to try to take over Judgment Day and be
yeah,
like leader of Judgment Day. And then my thought is, well, who would be in it? Who would be,
yeah.
right? Is it,
Dom, Carlito, JD, maybe Finn.
yeah, I mean, but um not Priest, right?
Right.
And so, like, and then it's like, would the Judgment Day just be super lame all of a sudden? Like, if JD McDonough is your muscle and a guy who spits an
Right.
apple is your enforcer, right? And I'm just like, first of all, they should have left the apple back in 2001 or wherever he, dreamed that bit up. I don't know why he brought it back to WWE Modern,
He
but it's
spits in the face of those who don't want to be cool.
an apple And like, that's why I'm just like, come on. I don't know. I don't know. It's not doing it. It didn't do it then. It's not doing it now. And even if it's this thing, um, Lee, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned that they're taking, how long did they build the Judgment Day
Yeah.
opening Raw every single week as the legitimate threat and the most dominant stable on Monday night? And now they are, maybe all that R-Truth and the Judgment Day stuff was the beginning of them not being taken seriously as top heels and being made sort of the comedy bit now.
Yeah.
This terrible ending with Braun Strowman running around his Strowman Express into JD, into Dom, into the cage, into Becky, this like domino effect. Um, I mean, it's like clown car stuff, bro. Like, I don't understand. And Strowman looks like dad bod Strowman. Like, he wore these really strange like moonwalker sneakers for his match. He's clearly balding. He's a baby face who's really has no, what is he, just good old boy? Is that his gimmick? Is like, I'm just a country boy from Tennessee. Here's my
Mm.
little tattoo that says Tennessee. I'm just like, I don't get it. I want Strowman to be part of whatever it is that they're cooking up with Uncle Howdy. I want Strowman to be, the monster that he is. Um, I'm not liking the direction of WWE TV at the moment.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not.
Interesting.
It just feels like they're burying people. It just feels like
Hmm.
they're burying people that they built up for a year, and now they're just burying them. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I get Dominic's hurt, but like, he could be, a conniving valet, a conniving, outside the ring presence, which they're kind
I was
of
gonna say
work.
it's kind of what they're doing. It's just he needs to switch allegiances to live, and then it can be like fully there.
Yeah, I just don't get it. There's too many variables right now for me, and I just have years of being a WWE fan that reinforced to me, when things look shaky, they probably are shaky, and it probably won't go very well. But
Interesting.
I need to learn to get past that. I need to learn to
Yeah.
get past that muscle memory in that former
Right.
regime.
Right. Well, I mean, just take Crown Jewel. I mean, we mentioned there was really not a lot of stakes for King and King of the Ring across the board, and yet it turned out to be a phenomenal show. It turned out to be Liv, winning the title, the wrong person winning Queen of the Ring, the right person winning King of the Ring. I mean, there were so many people who were convinced that either Tama Tonga was going to win, it was going to be a bloodline thing, or Randy Orton was clearly going to win. And I think in the previous regime, Randy Orton would have absolutely won instantly. But the fact that Gunther won and then is now King General, all that kind of stuff. And then, as much as I hate to admit, I still think Logan Paul would have been the better choice to win.
Oh,
They did such a good job. Like that match with Cody
it's
was
great.
one of the matches I like Cody better now because of that match. So like it was perfect. I mean, again, Logan Paul is proving, as much as we hate to admit it, that he is perhaps the best professional wrestler in the world today.
Hey Lee, why won't Gunther wear the crown on his head? Why does he
That is
carry?
a little bit weird. If you're gonna let him win, like, why not have him? Yeah, he's holding it. Like, this thing is beneath me and it's ugly, and
His head is so narrow that it may not actually stay on. Like, he may need it resized, you know?
right.
Oh, it was really weird, him just carrying the crown.
Yeah.
Kind of like a title. I don't know.
It
Uh,
is strange. And then the fact that Ludwig Kaiser is kind of still advocating for him, but they're not on TV together most of the time. And
Tiffany Stratton's IRL boyfriend.
no, lucky
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Well, no response. they haven't done anything with Chad Gable except dye Tozawa's hair black. It's not
Yeah.
blonde anymore. He is back to his natural hair color. He didn't
Back
go
in
to
black.
he didn't go to Saudi, and they made
Right.
that part of the story. Tozawa
Yeah.
let him down. Um, is this building towards SummerSlam? Otis versus Gable? Is Gable gonna pull in any of our great ideas that we had about bringing up Chase U or moving up
Right.
to the Creed brothers? That was a great idea you had. What the heck
Yeah.
happened with Gable? Like
I'm
Sammy beat him again.
I know. Honestly, I mean, I appreciate Triple H's slow builds, but on the same time, there's just you got to pull the trigger. And they kind of had that moment with Sammy coming out, telling Otis, you gotta turn on him, blah blah blah. And they didn't pull the trigger. It kept like he's got this like what is it, Munchausen syndrome or whatever, where you get beat so many times by the person that you just can't leave them because at least the abuse makes you feel something. Like that's kind of where they're going with this.
You start to protect your captor. You start to feel
Yeah.
connected to them in a
Right.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. Like that would have been the perfect time. So if not then when? I mean, if they build it up for another week, then sure, that'd be fine. But if it goes until what's next? I don't know. Like they do it at a pay-per-view, you got to wait another 3 weeks, you got to whatever. It just feels like there's a time to pull the trigger, and like right now they can pull the trigger and Otis will feel energized and
Yeah.
Gable will too. But if you don't, it's just going to be like, well, they finally did that. Oh
I
well.
I would say, since we're talking about, I don't really like what's going on TV, and I've been a huge advocate, enthusiastically enjoying what's happening on TV. But Bronson Reed is another one where I was like, I don't care about this guy. I don't. There's no. It's a low stakes enforcer. It doesn't have an agenda. He's not really earned anything. He's not really a credible threat.
Right.
Um, why do I care about him at all? And why does he keep showing up in the Intercontinental title scene? You know,
Yeah.
proving nothing. So I don't know.
I mean, again, I've said it since WrestleMania. I don't like the fact that Sami Zayn won that title. I don't think he needed it. I don't think it does anything for him. I think if Bronson, Jay, or really Chad Gable would have won it, I think the story they're going to go to is that Chad can't get it done. And then at SummerSlam, he has gotten rid of Otis and Maxine and Tozawa, or maybe Tozawa sticks around and then goes with Chase U, and then he wins it. And then it's very clearly like, ha, you see that I did this. I would love to see Otis get to the popularity point where Chad Gable wins the title and then Otis turns around and wins it like right away. Like that would be, I don't like hot shot booking so much, but I
Right.
would, Intercontinental Champion Otis would be something none of us expected, but it would be such a cool thing to see with the way they're building this.
Something that I don't know if you've had your finger on the pulse of at all is they introduced the Women's North American Championship on NXT this week. They
Okay.
revealed the belt is gorgeous. It looks identical to the men's belt, except it's on a white strap. And they are, I believe, going to crown a Women's North American champion in Vegas at Battleground. All that to say, Lee, are we seeing there being a need for more women's titles? And is the women's division actually growing in a way that the men's is not at this point?
Hmm. I think the women's division has been more interesting for the last couple of years. And I mean, certainly, I think there's an argument to be made that there should be an intercontinental level women's belt. Certainly there's the main title on each show. There should be a secondary, even if it's shared across brands or whatever they do with that. So maybe that's kind of a step towards this, but it feels like of all the places you should have less belts, it's NXT. You've got the much smaller roster there. The only thing that does is just gives, you can say, oh, you know, they called up Roxanne Perez and she is X number of times a champion because they are recognizing NXT championships in the category of did they win a belt. So I mean that's the only thing. But yeah, I mean that's cool. I like the idea. I just think it should be a main roster belt,
I've
personally.
been wondering if they're going to make this belt a um, similar to the women's tags, where you can
Yeah.
defend it anywhere. That always feels like a stretch too, but
Yeah.
I'm very interested in what happens. I think there's some really outstanding talent in NXT that there's not enough space on the main roster for, unless they begin to diminish the uniqueness of all of these women and make them tag teams.
Right.
There is room. Katana, what's her name? Chase
Katana
Carter.
Chance and
They're
Caden Carter.
they
Casey
are
Catanzaro.
they're a great example of two women that could not, I think, flourish as solo stars.
Mm,
And so I wonder if it's time to start looking for which females would be a better tag team, make a better tag, and build a quote, a gimmick or a brand together with another woman, the way the Creed brothers have. Like, I wouldn't care
yeah.
about Julius Creed on his own. I don't care about Ridge Holland on his own. Some guys need a partner. Some guys
Yeah.
need someone to complement their skill set. Like, when the rumor was that they were going to break up the Street Profits and have Montez go on his own,
Mm,
um, in hindsight, now I'm glad they didn't do it, because I still love the Street Profits as a tag team. I love them um, as a culmination of gifts that they share together. Anyway,
mm.
so I think that's it for me, Lee. There's a lot to watch now that we're building towards SummerSlam, and now that we're building towards, will Clash at the Castle actually be a major PLE? I don't know, but we'll see. But there's a lot of build. There's a lot to be watching and to see what develops.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thanks for joining us on the WWE Champions Chat podcast. Rumor is we might be doing this live on Twitch coming up soon. So be aware of that. It'll still drop on YouTube, it'll still drop in Apple and Spotify podcasts. And for those who don't know, we are content creators for a game called WWE Champions. It is the best WWE, nay, wrestling game that is out there. So I know a lot of you for the PlayStation are going to be getting Fight Forever as the free thing this month. It's not even worth considering that compared to Champions. Just saying.
Yes.
We love you. We very much appreciate this community. We haven't said it in a while. You matter
I love
more than you
you.
know. What's that?
I love you.
Love you. Bye, friends. That was weird.